Hello, welcome to episode 2 of the Current Events Political Podcast. I'm Harrison,
And I'm Michael.
and today we'll start off by talking about Elizabeth Warren. So,
Mhm.
Elizabeth Warren claims that she is white, claims that she's Native American, but in fact, after she takes the DNA test, she's 99.9% white. And well, it's kind of weird because it's really weird to see that someone who claim themselves to be Native American let's see, then let's see, uh, ah, I can't think. Um, then be proven that they're white and still claim they're Native American, and then then just get mocked by literally everyone on the political spectrum. Um,
Yeah. That sounds like a rather dumb thing. I don't know why she's claiming she's Native American in the first place. It doesn't really do anything for her.
she doesn't even look like she's Native American at all. Even the Cherokee Nation denounced this.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't see like how this helps her in any way to like be native, like claim she's Native American. Like none of her policy platforms like are like enhanced in any way by saying she's Native American.
I mean, like, based on like identity politics of this day and age, though, I mean, like, it kind of is a little bit better for her if you think about it, right?
I mean, you say identity politics, but when you look at the U.S., like the U.S. like political situation, identity politics, nobody refers to Native Americans. It's always about like black people, Hispanic people, maybe Asian people. Nobody
No,
ever
no, no, no.
mentions Native.
Identity politics literally hate Asian people. Like, if you are Asian, you will take an L, or if you're white. Like, nobody likes the Asian or the white people in the Democratic Party side, and they also hate men, from what I can tell.
It seems a bit exaggerated, Harrison.
I mean, like, maybe it's just like some of the like sources that I just listen to sometimes, but I mean like it's just fairly interesting considering that like it also seems overall that like America has just become a lot more polarized in like what's it called? Like polarized for their political parties.
Well, yeah, that's been true for a while now.
Mm.
But honestly, I don't see how like this Native American thing, like it's really dumb of her to do this. But like, I don't see why she would do it in the first place.
I
It's
mean
just kind of like, what's going on here?
the only thing that like really I think like the reason why she did it was just to prove to Donald Trump that she is Native American. But like being 1/10/24 Native American really isn't anything. Like, you are literally proving yourself to be less Native American than probably the average white person.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Like, it,
But like, honestly, the idea of using a DNA test in the first place is like, well, why? It's like, why?
the DNA test wasn't even good either because they used Hispanic blood. They didn't even use Cherokee Nation, what's it called? Cherokee Nation Indian blood.
Yeah, honestly, this entire thing just sounds like, oh, what are you doing?
I just kind of think that it gives like a very bad face to like her campaign if she's doing anything. What is she running for anything in the midterms? Um,
No, she's a senator, so she's not up for re-election this time, so
Oh, I see. Well, then it
yeah.
makes it okay. Well, she just looks bad then. Like that just literally just makes her look really bad.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess this gives Republicans ammunition to attack her with. That's really it, though. Like, she gets a bit of like a credibility, if she loses some credibility.
Mm,
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's true. I definitely think that she does lose a lot of credibility with that, though. I mean, like, if that's the case, like, why would you even say that if you realize that I'm not really Native American?
Honestly, I don't see the reason why she decided to double down on this. Like, she has like like the things that appeal to her for like liberal people, like has nothing to do with her being Native American or not. So I don't understand her rationale behind doing this.
Yeah, I honestly thought it was a big disrespect to Native Americans, to be honest, claiming that she is Native American, and then let's see, and then being less Native American than anybody else. Like that basically means that anyone could claim that they're Native American at that point.
Mm, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, I definitely thought that it was like a really bad public showing by her. Um,
Yeah, she definitely could have handled it a lot better.
I thought it would have been better if she just didn't say it at all.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't know how this even got brought up in the first place.
I think if I remember correctly, Trump called her out or something like that, saying that she probably wasn't Native American. So then she went to the DNA test to actually do it, because
So it's another one of those
yeah, some
back and forth exchanges.
yeah, and definitely Elizabeth Warren lost that. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that this one was just like, why? Why you do this?
All right. I guess moving on
Uh,
to the next topic, we'll be talking about the Saudis and the
oh
death of
yes,
what's
Jamal Khashoggi.
Khashoggi?
Yeah.
What a
Yeah,
legend.
the Saudis I can't believe that like they're literally saying he went in there, he got into a fight with like 15 people, like a fist fight, and then he somehow died.
They must have really beat him up really bad. Must have been like kicking and stuff, you
Yeah, but
know?
like what? Like how do you like get beat up like that in a consulate in the first place? This is a big question. Like like you go into a consulate and you're applying for like position, right? There's like a desk and stuff, and you just ask people, and then you just handle everything at a desk, right? How the hell do you get into a fist fight when there's a desk between you?
Maybe people just came around and then just started beating him up, you know? That could be a possibility.
Doesn't look very good to the Saudis though.
Oh yeah, no.
Honestly, it's like it's hella suspicious that it took them like a week. They spent like an entire week saying he's not dead, he's perfectly fine, and then suddenly it just becomes he died in a fist fight.
Yeah, it's very, very, let's see. It's just very, very suspicious. I think that,
Yeah,
what's it called?
it's basically like a cover up right now. I think they arrested like 18 people and forced like two senior people in the Saudi administration to resign. It's
Oh,
basically I think they're basically looking for scapegoats to keep this thing from falling on the crown prince.
yeah, but I feel like I definitely feel like it's, it is kind of rigged. Like, what was it? It definitely is a cover up for the Saudis.
Yeah. Weirdest shit was Trump was like, I believe it's credible. I'm like, how's like this guy dying in a fist fight like credible at all?
Yeah, I don't know. And then like, let's see, and then let's see, President Erdogan of Turkey is supposed to give the full story, right? If
Oh
I
yeah,
remember.
I think they like just today they released some video of like some body double of
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm
Khashoggi.
seeing this right now.
Yeah,
Um, I
uh,
definitely
not
think
suspicious at all, guys. Not suspicious at all.
that's like very, very interesting though. Like, how does this even happen? And it felt
Yeah,
like even if the Saudis wanted to assassinate him, they probably could have done a lot better job than
yeah,
than
they could
killing him.
have done something like a lot better. This is like, are you even trying, or
This
like,
seems like a very
were you
bad hit up.
high when you did this?
Yeah, this sounds like a very bad hit operation, to be honest.
Yeah.
Very botched. They could have like definitely lured him into an alley and then just said he just did something else, right? Like there were a
Like,
lot.
I mean, if you actually wanted to kill someone, you'll hire like some local thief, pay him like $1 million, and tell him to shank him on the side of the street.
Could just be like the guy who tries to murder Ronald Reagan, right? Just try to shoot him in the middle of the street and just say like he was just a lone gunman.
Yeah, it's plausible deniability. There's no plausible deniability when he dies in your consulate.
Yeah. I mean like who decided that the console was a good idea to murder someone?
And honestly, I think they made like some like big like intelligence official resign. I'm like, how did he even get there in the first place if this is the kind of plan he come up with?
Yeah, and then this has been like really rippling across like the entire world too.
Yeah, everyone's been condemning the Saudis over this.
Yeah, even close allies too. The US, I believe
Yeah.
there was like a bunch of tech
Trump
company.
has been kind of iffy there. Everyone else has been like, this is total bullshit.
Yeah, definitely. I do. He worked for the Washington Post, right? If I remember
Yeah, he
correctly.
works for the Washington
Yeah,
Post.
so let's see. That's kind of iffy too. Ugh.
It's not really that if you Washington Post
Yeah, no,
is.
it just sounds it's just kind of bad though, because it's like you actually murdered like
Oh, that's
an
what you
American
meant. Yeah.
citizen, I think he was, right?
No, no, he's a permanent resident. He's still a Saudi citizen. That was why he had to go to the consulate in the first place.
Oh, I see, I see.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
This,
murdering a U.S. permanent resident isn't exactly a great idea either.
mm. Yeah, the other thing is that like let's see, actually as his time as a Washington Post journalist, did he say anything against the Saudis?
That's why he was in the U.S. in the first place. He was a Saudi dissident. That's why the reason people speculate that's the reason why he got killed
Okay.
because he opposed he like disagreed with the crown prince. He wrote like a lot of critical articles about him.
Okay, then the Crown Prince would probably have killed him in that case. Um,
Yeah, this is really backfiring on the crown prince's plan to modernize the Saudi economy. I think basically everyone pulled out like some Saudi economic
oh
conference that was
yeah,
supposed to
there was a
happen,
lot of
right?
people
Yeah,
pulled out of that. I remember seeing articles about that.
yeah.
That is definitely not good for the Saudis at all. It's definitely giving
Yeah,
them
but honestly, like at this point, they deserve it. Like this whole thing has been like such a complete clusterfuck. Like, it's like, why are you even doing this stuff?
I don't know. I'm honestly like very confused over over the
And
entire thing.
honestly, it's like, it's not like he's the only person writing critical stories about the Saudis. It's like, why?
Yeah, and such a high profile one too. Like
Yeah,
you could have killed literally anyone else, and I think it would have been better.
yeah, exactly. Saudis just shows that like, not exactly the greatest government out there.
Yeah, definitely not. Um, oh well, I think we've discussed that in enough depth.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Big thing that's coming up right now, the Honduran migrant caravan.
Oh yeah, I think they're currently moving through Mexico right
Yes,
now.
they are. They have passed through the Mexican border with Guatemala and they are currently in Mexico moving towards the US. It's projected that they're going to arrive at the US border in about a week.
About a week.
Yeah. So that'll be really interesting, to be honest, for American politics, for considering the midterm election will be coming, and that Donald Trump is
Oh yeah, wait.
very
Next week. I
anti-immigrant.
think that's just 1 week before midterms. I think.
Yes, that
Yeah.
and that probably will be a very big contention point for, let's see, for like people voting
I
for
can already
Republicans.
see the Republicans running last minute attack ads about migrant caravans.
They already are doing attacks on the migrant
Oh, they're
caravan.
already doing it?
Yeah, no, Donald Trump was like, we're gonna remove funding from Guatemala, like El Salvador and like Honduras over like their failure to contain the
That
migrants.
that's kind of counterproductive. I mean, if they get rid of money, it's just more people are gonna leave.
I yeah, I definitely think it's kind of weird that he did that. I definitely thought he would put more financial aid towards this country to help
Like,
contain the
yeah, if you like
migrants.
actually wanted to like contain them, like you would like give them more money to like actually do it.
Yeah, that's what I would
Like if you cut
think.
the money off, there's like no, like they might as well just send people your way out of spite.
Yeah, no, it's been really interesting though, because a lot of people have had like some very interesting opinions on like this thing. On the one hand, there's a lot of people who think that, oh, this is good, you know, let's see, we're for human rights and protecting, let's see, protecting the people who are moving out. They have a right to like be happy and stuff and not be in Honduras, the shithole, right? But on the other hand, there's also other people who are very worried about like what the effects of like probably feel like a few thousand migrants coming into the U.S. will be like, you know.
I think based on current immigration rates, a few thousand isn't actually going to change
Uh,
things that
Let me
drastically.
look up, let's see, the current Honduras migrant caravan numbers. Let me see how many people are actually in here. Uh, a lot of things. It's over 7,000, it looks like.
It's over 7,000. Right. I'm taking a look at the apprehensions on by month. Usually it seems to be 25,000 a month, but is what I'm getting. Like anywhere from 25,000 to 35,000 people every month. 7,000, yeah, that would definitely spike like this month
Yeah, that's a
cross.
lot.
Well, actually, wait, but no, they're not trying to cross the border illegally. They're trying to apply for asylum, isn't it? That's a illegal thing to do.
But they're still but they're just trying to get into the U.S. They probably will be crossing the border illegally. Because I don't think the U.S. Border Patrol will ever let them seek asylum based on what they've been doing.
I mean, technically that's illegal, though. I believe international law says you have to accept asylum claims. Like, you could reject it afterwards, but you have to, like, accept it and process it. You can't just outright be like, I'm not going to hear this case.
Yeah, we'll have. I definitely think that even if they do, they're all going to be rejected afterwards, though, if that's the
I mean,
case.
given this administration, was that ever in doubt?
Not really, but I think it just plays into a larger question about immigration and stuff, and it's gonna be, I think it's probably gonna be one of the more, let's see, interesting things for the midterm elections. Given their, let's see, the Republicans versus Democrats will show, I think this will help show, that's it,
Yeah, it is
like,
kind of interesting because illegal immigration has kind of been out of the spotlight the last, like, this past year, I think.
yeah, it's gonna definitely bring it back to the front light because these migrants have been illegally crossing into different countries. They to get through Mexico, they didn't actually pass through Mexico legally. They went through illegally, um, and they didn't try to seek asylum in Mexico. I think if I remember correctly, they're supposed to seek asylum in Mexico and then they can seek asylum in the U.S. For them.
I'm not actually sure on the international like procedures for that. I
Yeah,
mean, it probably makes sense. I'm guessing they just think Mexico isn't safe either, but I guess it just depends
yeah, but
on where you.
I mean, like, I definitely think that like what the migrants are doing are like is like a good thing for them, right? Like they're trying to get out of trying to get a new life and stuff, right, in another place.
Yeah,
But I definitely think that it might not be good for the other people, considering that if all of these migrants are going to like be accepted to the U.S., then the U.S. has to pay for like let's see, thousands of dollars for like healthcare and all these services for the migrants. And I
I
feel like
believe
that
illegal immigrants don't get welfare benefits. Yeah, they don't.
um well, technically they technically do if they get like injured for like and they have to go to the ER, then like we all have to pay for them and stuff like that.
Well, technically, but that assumes they go to ER.
Y- from from what I know, most of them choose to do go to the ER because they do not have health insurance. So, and then that basically forces the hospitals and clinics to serve them.
I mean that's hospital obligation. You have to serve anyone who goes to the ER.
Yeah.
I've also read that some people don't like they just don't go to the hospital because they fear they're gonna get arrested afterwards.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. But I don't know. I definitely think that like
Honestly,
that
I think like the whole illegal immigration thing, like the U.S. has to like actually solve it at some point instead of just be like illegal immigration, ooh, right? Like and one side is like screw illegal immigrants, the other side is like yay illegal immigrants, and then the U.S. economy is just like we kind of need illegal immigrants. At
um
some point, the whole system needs reform, and like I think we've been kicking a can down the road for like 20 years or more at this point.
yeah. I mean, like, I definitely don't like the idea of illegal immigrants right now, just because it's what's it called? Um, I just don't think that it's like a good thing to have illegal immigrants coming to the U.S. Although I do see their merit in taking up the lower jobs, like jobs that nobody else would like to take in the U.S. I think that what you could do is just make a more efficient border processing, you know, um,
Yeah, but
border
like
processing
the
system.
government doesn't have the spine to actually pass immigration reform, so you're just stuck with using illegal immigrants to like fill the gap.
Yeah, it's definitely disappointing. I definitely would like to see
Yeah.
like labor reforms in that sense, so that you could allow people from other
Honestly, like
countries.
the whole like the restrictiveness on work permits is like one of the big reasons why like illegal immigration is a thing. Like like if people like a lot of the farms, right? They just can't hire Americans, so you have to hire an immigrant. Except like getting a work permit is so hard that like all you're left with is illegal immigrants.
Yeah, I remember seeing a story about this about the fishing industry down in Louisiana. Um, talking about how they needed basically immigrants to go in and to do the
Yeah,
fishing because
because
nobody else would want to do shrimp
yeah,
boating.
because Americans like refuse to do the job no matter how much they pay for it.
Yeah, and unfortunately the jobs that let's see, those jobs are like really low paying, so nobody really wants to do them.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think like really the solution to this is like the U.S. needs to like reform immigration at some point. And I mean, if it doesn't want like migrant caravans, it should also like invest some money into dealing with like the whole drug problem that it causes down in the rest of the Americas.
Yeah, definitely I
Like
think.
part of the game problem is because the U.S. just like shoots up so many drugs that come from there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate really. I really wish that like what's it called, that at least everyone could be happy in this world. Um and at least could have a good life, but clearly that's not happening.
Yeah. Although like Trump's move of like cutting funding is like real dumb.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. They should be supporting those countries and trying to stop the
Yeah, they
immigrants while they're in those countries so they can be set back a lot easier.
yeah. And plus, if you give them funding to like deal with the like gang issue, then like there's like no longer an incentive to leave.
Um, Not necessarily. The other thing is that, like, in general, I think the Honduran economy isn't the best either. So some people would like to just
No,
leave
but
Puerto
like
Rico.
some of the journalists interview people, and they're like they were basically, I think the gist of it is basically like the gangs demand like a bunch of protection money, and it's basically you can't pay it and still live like based on like your monthly income. So there's like really nothing left for you to do besides leave. Like the gang problem is like the biggest problem I think down there.
Mm, yeah, it's a very big thing. Like, what was it? Even I think Gordon Ramsay went down there at one point too to check out like all the gang activity down in Colombia for the cocaine industry, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Colombia's cocaine industry was more fueled by the rebel groups.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely think that like part of the solution is sending more U.S. funding towards those countries to stop it. But
Yeah.
part of like part of the problem is that, well, where we're going to get that funding from too. Um, I definitely think that for that funding, we'd have to cut back on the military or something like that to
Mm,
help out.
there's always ways for the government to get funding if it actually wants money instead of handing out random corporate tax cuts.
Mm,
Well, I think we basically covered this topic.
yeah. Um, let's see.
So
I think
next,
um, I think one of the more interesting things would probably be the Brexit negotiations so far.
oh yeah. So Theresa May has finally reversed a key Brexit demand and says she's now open to leaving the entire UK and the EU customs union as a backstop for a couple of years.
Oh wait, she's gonna leave the entire economic zone?
No, no, she's gonna leave like the entire UK in the EU customs union. Like they're not gonna leave the customs union.
Well, it's basically a soft Brexit then.
Yeah,
S-
it's like a backstop for like a couple of years because it's obvious that Britain did not plan for this at all, so they have a couple more years to figure out what they're gonna do.
Oh man. Wait, but then like then it's literally the worst situation for them because they like let's see, they still have to abide by all the what's it called? The single market rules that the EU imposes, but they can't like do anything. Like they don't have any voting power on any of the stuff they want.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first issue was them voting to leave the EU in the first place.
Yeah. There's also been protests too about having a second referendum.
Yeah,
And
but that's just a complete like cluster. Like it's all messed up at this point. Like if people voted to like remain now, are they just gonna go tell the EU, oh hey, you know what we've been doing for like the past 2 years? Yeah, can you just forget about all that? Like, is the EU actually gonna do that?
no. Or they might actually. I mean, like it's possible just because I think the
They'll
EU would be better off.
probably use the chance to force the UK to give up all the special privileges they had in the EU.
That's true. That's definitely true.
Yeah.
Um,
And at that point, if you run a third referendum, you might end up with Brexit again.
yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I definitely think that like in some ways or another, I mean like, well, I'm like I think one of the more interesting things is that like would a second referendum be democratic though? Because like
I
then
mean, the
you're
first one
undermining the
wasn't exactly democratic either. When you look at the turnout, it was like what, 50,
Ooh,
60% turnout, and then the margin was like 2%. I think
yeah,
that's within the margin of error, basically. Not exactly a compelling mandate to leave.
yeah. Um, I don't know. I just find it really weird, but I partially think that that's just what's it called? I think it's just like Brexit and like all these like all these things that have been happening in the world lately have just been like a show for like general discontent with the establishment too. I feel like some voters for Brexit just voted um let's see for to leave the EU because they were discontent with how the EU operates in a way.
I think a lot of them were actually deluded.
Deluded. What makes you say that?
Well, okay, I'll give you like an example. Like Cornwall, it's like an area of Britain, one of the poorest, right? They voted like maybe like 80, 90% to like leave.
Hmm.
And then afterwards, they figure out the EU gives the area a bunch of subsidies. So now they're like they're like demanding the British government like pay the same amount of subsidies after they leave, or else it's not fair.
But that's not gonna happen though. There's no way that would happen.
Exactly. It's like they want their cake and they want to eat it too, right? As the saying goes.
Yeah, I definitely think that um that this Brexit thing is just definitely a mess. I definitely think that Theresa May has like handled this situation very bad. It's been very bad communication on her part
I
with
think it's been
the
a very
people.
bad communication on the entire UK political system as a whole.
That's
Like,
true.
Labour's just been muddling around the entire time because it's obvious that their leader, what was his name? Jeremy Corbyn, favors Brexit for his own reasons. And I think the majority of Labour voters voted Leave, but also a lot of their like MPs like voted Remain. So they're in kind of this limbo situation where they're like, we support Remain, but we also don't really support it.
Yeah,
And
it's the
then
same thing with the conservatives too, right?
the Conservatives are almost in open war at this point.
Because what was it, David? Because I'm pretty sure the conservatives did not want to leave, but their
Oh
party's
no,
the
there
one.
was yeah, so the original plan for referendum was literally just like a political move by David Cameron to shut up the Brexit people in his party, except he lost and now the Brexit people run the party.
Yeah, that was basic. That was pretty funny. Because then right after that, right, then nobody else wanted to take the role of prime minister after he resigned too, which was like,
Yeah.
all right, well that's kind of awkward.
Yeah, it just shows that like they all realize it's not gonna really end well.
Yeah, I definitely think that like UK as is stands is definitely better in the EU. Even let's see.
Yeah, the UK stands to lose a lot after Brexit.
Yeah, I definitely
And
don't think
honestly,
that.
there's still a lot of stuff to figure out. They still haven't figured out the Irish border problem. Like this is
Oh,
like a big part of the reason why the backstop thing is like being proposed now.
yeah, no, they. I don't
Because
think they're gonna.
Northern Ireland's like if they like do something like that's like iffy regarding borders there, you might see the trouble start up again, and that's just
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
because Northern Ireland does not like Southern Ireland either. Ooh.
And Northern Ireland's yeah, it's like kind of split. I think it's like majority pro-union, but it's like I think I'm 40% like pro-Ireland. So
We'll have to see. Ireland is kind of just weird at this point. Um,
Northern Ireland is it?
oh man.
Yeah,
I definitely don't think like let's see that like the UK stands to benefit at all from leaving, because you have to
yeah,
renegotiate everything too with other countries once
yeah.
you leave, because you're no longer part of the
Honestly,
EU.
like this just shows how unprepared like Britain is. Like at this very last moment right here, Britain just drops a key demand because they suddenly finally realize that it's not going to go their way.
Yeah, I mean, like the EU actually played it out smart, I think, because they just
Yeah,
literally waited and waited and waited until the last moment where they had the most leverage power.
yeah. And then like the May government came up with like the government plan 1 year into Brexit checkers, I think, right? Yeah, it
Yeah,
took
and
them
then
like an
nobody
entire
liked
year,
it.
and then it immediately got trashed by everyone. Just, I don't know what the British government has been doing.
Like if they're doing like even the and this thing about the referendum is that it was like it was non-binding. It was just an opinion poll, right? They
Yeah,
didn't
but the
have
issue
to.
with referendums is that like the way they're marketed is that like basically it's binding. Like people are gonna protest hella if you just ignore a referendum result.
Yeah, I definitely think that they should have definitely marketed that differently and said that's like, oh, well, it's a
Honestly, I think there's like some EU countries where like referendums, like they have laws like you need like certain voter percentage turnout and you need to win by a certain amount in order for it to like actually count. I think Britain could have benefited from something similar instead of something like this referendum where it just polarized everyone in the country.
definitely. Um, let's see. I the other thing too is that like I kind of feel like all this Brexit talk was basically mainly based on migrants, and it's sort of like a reflection on like the rest of the EU as a whole, with more of a rise in nationalism
I think it's
in a lot
really
of
the
countries.
Western world as a whole. You see in the US too.
This, I mean, like it's not the Western world as a whole, I would say, because you can see it in like you Canada's not really like that, right? Or
What?
uh, what?
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you were just saying.
Like I don't think it's like the entire Western world because like I don't think Canada has I don't think Canada has like become very like much more nationalistic than before. Um
Yeah, that's true, but Canada's
or like
Canada.
some other like Nordic or I guess like something like not Sweden. Sweden's becoming more nationalistic. Norway I would say, right?
Norway's been nationalistic before Sweden.
Mm. Well, I don't know. Sweden recently became a lot more nationalistic with their election.
The
And
entire like European region has become more insular.
yeah, definitely Italy with the entire with like their election with the
Yeah, the
of like
Italian government is
it's weird. Their government is really weird. It's a
yeah,
mix of a
far
left and
left,
right wing
far right coalition.
coalition.
Just
That was very, very strange.
once you go far enough to the left or right, you just circle back around.
Anarchism, let's go. Uh,
Yeah. All right. I
let's
think
see.
we've
And
strayed
then
enough
like
from
I don't
that
know.
topic.
I don't know. I think like one more interesting too was that like the Hungarians thing too, right?
The
With
Hungarians
like
have been going at it for years now.
the Hungarians are like, oh boy, I feel like the Hungarians should probably leave the EU if they wanted to, because I believe that they're about to lose voting privileges in the EU
The
Parliament.
thing was Viktor Orban, like he like talks trash about the EU all the time, but he's also very good at getting the EU to give money to Hungary.
How does that work exactly?
It's basically like I don't really know, but it's just like how like like the EU gives subsidies to Cornwall in England, I think. It's just basically to prop up certain places, I think.
I see, I see. Um, let's see, what else is there? Trade war.
Oh yes, the trade war still going on, still just as stupid as it was when it started.
So I think for anyone who's like not really informed, trade wars between the U.S. and China on a bunch of products where the U.S. is taxing them more, I believe, right?
It's tariffs. It's
Yeah,
the
tariffs
technical
on
word is
them, and then
tariffs.
it's just increasing the prices on everything.
Yeah.
What do you think exactly, Michael?
I mean, honestly, like Trump, I don't disagree with it in principle. Like, I think China, like, it needs something to like push it to like actually do something about its economy to make it like less opaque and completely unfair. But the trade war that's currently going on is a rather dumb way to go about it because it basically doesn't leave the Chinese with much leeway to back down. They basically have to escalate in response. And of course, there's also the fact that the U.S. didn't get the EU on board with it to do to like coordinate at the same time. That would have been a lot more effective, I think.
I feel like in a way, yes, it's like sort of a good thing in a way because like if we become too reliant on China for all our goods, that's probably not a good thing, right? But at the
Oh,
same time,
my guess, my idea was that like it's a good thing because like it could force China to reform some of its like practices that are like
That's also true.
really bad. Like the whole IP stuff is like actually kind of a bit out of hand.
Yeah, but I definitely, but I feel like, let's see, I feel like China, I feel like, let's see, we shouldn't like be totally reliant on China for everything though, which is
Yeah.
like a major I think would could be a major problem in the future, which is why I think it's sort of good that like he's putting these tariffs on because it forces it will like encourage more American manufacturing, which may be good for the economy. It's very dependent though, because I definitely do think that
Well,
the economy could suffer a lot due to the
it
higher prices.
depends, right?
Yeah.
And also because he decided to tariff Canada at the same time. Just like, what are you doing?
Oh
But the
yeah,
thing,
because they
yeah,
reformed the NAFTA deal, right?
yeah, USMCA, but
Yeah.
I don't know why they're tariffing that in Canada. It's just like so dumb. It's like Canada's supposed to be an ally. You want them on your side.
Yeah, I don't understand that one at all. Uh, like, I definitely think that some of the things that Trump has done has been very questionable on the economic front. Um,
Yeah. They're very, very protectionist, I would say.
Yeah, it reminds me of what's it called? A bunch of let's see, what is it? The tariff of 1828.
Oh yeah, the good old 1830s. There's also the whole 1920s. Remember Smoot Hawley? Oh yeah,
Oh
baby.
yeah.
Gotta make the depression even worse, guy.
I mean like it definitely reminds me of that, and I think that based on these based on it, I definitely could see American manufacturing getting better, or at least more
Not
American
necessarily.
manufacturing.
Like, you know the aluminum tariffs?
Yeah.
They slapped the tariff on Canada, right?
Hmm.
But the thing is, the U.S. imports Canadian aluminum because the U.S. can't produce enough of it. Like, even if U.S. producers went to maximum production, they cannot produce enough. So they still have to import from Canada. It's just that now they have to pay more for it.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. I definitely think that it's like that it will definitely
On
slow down the economy in a way.
yeah, like
But
the administration should have thought this out a bit more before they engaged in
but
it.
it's also kind of strange too, because like as of right now, the economy is I think the strongest that it's been in like 9 years, right?
Yeah, but you don't really know who to credit for this sort of stuff because it could still be rolling over from the old Obama days, or it
But
could
then
be
again,
Trump
it could
doing
just be like the
something.
regular boom and bust cycle of
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
economics
Because
too,
I mean,
because
recently the Dow has been more volatile than it's been in the past, so I don't know. Maybe we might be headed for like slower economic growth in the future.
or we could be headed for a recession too, depending on how this trade war escalates as well.
I don't, yeah, it's a possibility, I would have to say.
A recession is possible. Like
Yeah,
if the tariff go out of hand, you could definitely see prices rise so much that nobody wants to
yeah.
buy anything anymore, right?
Yeah, at that point, well, that's going to be interesting for the U.S. given the current political situation.
Yeah, although I feel like let's see, I feel like it's going to be very interesting. Definitely the economy will be a big part of the probably the 2020 elections, I would think, because that's when I would expect there to be another economic recession around there.
Given the current like going rate, yeah, it's definitely going to be after the midterms. So definitely 2020 will probably be the big point.
It's because
But the
usually,
question is whether it will happen after midterms and before the elections, or happen like during elections.
or it could happen after the elections, but I would put my money
Yeah,
before.
yeah, I would say before too, but
Because
you can
usually
never
those,
be sure with this stuff.
yeah, usually those what's it called? Those economic recessions happen once, probably around every 10 years, I think.
Yeah, so right around due for another
Yeah, it's like another earthquake in California.
one. Oh yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Can't wait for school to be destroyed.
Oh yes. Remember, boys? Drop, duck, and roll, whatever you want to call it. Oh
The
wait, it's like
tables won't
drop.
save us for sure.
Oh yeah.
We'll actually get crushed into those things. Um,
Oh, that's not to think about it. What's next?
EU ruling on Google?
Oh yeah, you have to tell me a bit more about that. I'm not really like knowledgeable on OEMs.
Basically what happened for that was I think the EU basically went for a monopoly like antitrust suit against Google, right? Because they control a large portion of the market share with Android, and because Android, you're basically forced to preload the apps onto onto the phone, right? Then
Yeah,
it
I know that.
yeah, it makes it let's see. They thought it would be very unfair for that to
Oh
happen.
yeah, I can see why they would rule that way then.
Um, Now basically what happens is they charged the Google with like a $5 billion fine for that. And
Okay.
now Google has stated that only in the EU countries that they are forcing manufacturers to pay them if they want to put their apps if they want to put the Google apps on there. So like um
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the Ars Technica article on this right now. And they say like it's honestly dependent on the phone. Like a brand new Samsung might cost $40 more, but like a mid-range phone might only cost maybe $2 or $3 more.
depends though. I mean like I definitely think that it won't really change anything. It'll just make life worse for the consumers because what other app store are you gonna use on Google on like one of those phones?
Mm. It depends on if the EU wants to try and like foster some sort of domestic, app industry.
I mean, like that doesn't really make any sense. That would not be widely adopted by anybody.
Yeah, that's true, but
I mean, like I
I
just
mean
find
the
that
EU
it's
has generally taken like a more anti-corporation stance than the US.
yeah, that's definitely true. But I feel like in this case, it actually is not beneficial to the consumers at all because you're losing out on Google applications. So if you want to install stuff, if you actually want to install apps on your phone, like you actually can't. The only way you can install apps is through the Play Store, and then you can't get other things like you can't get useful apps like Google Drive or like some of the other things, Gmail and whatever. What are you supposed to do, right?
Yeah, I guess the EU wants to foster alternatives. It's just that it's rather unrealistic at this point.
Yeah, the only one I could ever see might be Samsung with their like with the development of their own operating system, but I don't think that the Samsung operating system would ever be like widely accepted because Android's just too
Oh wait, but
powerful.
that does make an option, right? Because I think Samsung and some of the other phones, like they have their own store and their own like version of Google Drive and stuff.
They
They
do,
might
but like
decide,
why would you use them? It's like pointless because it's not as good
well,
as
they could be
Google.
trying to go the Apple route, right?
But
And this
okay,
does
but
give them
Apple
the
only provides you with an
chance.
app store, it doesn't provide you with the full suite of services.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But if like even if they, as long as they can get their own store onto there and get people to use that store instead, that could make them like more money, I think.
Yeah, but then the other problem is that like, well, you're not gonna have a wide variety of apps on that store either.
Yeah. Well, I
Like,
guess that depends on if they invest into it to like get people to develop for it.
yeah, but like but that means that you have to. I mean, like, I guess it'd be the same because you're still running Android, right? So it should still be
Yeah.
fine. It's just
Yeah, it
that
should still be fine. It just
do
depends
you
on like if you're willing to like put it on there so,
Yeah,
on
that's like
on the
the main
store.
problem. So I mean, like if they wanted to
Yeah.
stay competitive, you could make it so that the App Store is basically free for anybody, for any developer to put it on there. But that just makes it
Yeah.
very unprofitable for the other manufacturer to do it because you have to invest
Yeah.
like thousands of dollars in the servers, and like
Yeah.
software development for that App Store, which kind of makes it pointless. It's a lot easier just to use your Google Play Store and upload it to there.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll have to see how it goes, I think. No one really knows what's gonna happen after this. I think the most likely outcome is that they're just gonna pay more money to
Yeah,
use
I
this
definitely
thing.
think it's a loss for the consumers on this part, to be honest. Because, like, given the current economic situation, like, nobody else can really oppose Google on their own
Yeah.
platform. And every manufacturer of phone is basically gonna have to pay more
Yeah.
money to get those, to
Yeah.
get the, the apps that people actually want
Yeah.
and would like to buy for your phone, right? Because if you didn't get
Yeah.
those apps, you would just go and buy an Apple phone, to be honest, because they would have them.
Yeah, well, there's still a price difference.
Depends. Depends.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the phone. But
Though,
yeah,
I definitely think it's like very unrealistic.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
let's see. I think that's good enough for today, right? You want
Um,
to talk about another one?
yeah, let's go for one more. Let's see. You choose. You choose a topic this time.
Oh, how about, well, let's do Bloomberg spy chip story since we're talking about tech.
Sure, sure. Let's see. I'm not as familiar about this one, so you have to explain it to me.
All right. So Bloomberg ran a story based on like some anonymous sources about how this company, I believe, is like Sun Microsystems, they made like those chips for phones and stuff, right?
Foxconn
They're
or TSMC, something like that. I would assume one of the two.
no, not Fox. It's a U.S. company, like their chips. They're
Oh,
made in China though, so maybe
Qualcomm,
like it's
maybe? I don't know.
no, it's like Sun something.
Sun Microsystems is dead though.
Yeah, hang on, let me check. But anyways, so basically they were claiming that oh, it's called Supermicro.
Super Micro.
Yeah. So basically they were claiming that China was putting in like these little devices into the chipboard to that allow them to hack the phone that the chip was installed in, so you can access your phone remotely. And
Mm.
basically like Apple's phones were compromised and all that.
Amazon and Amazon servers and stuff too, I would think,
Yeah.
because China also
Except that
has a lot of
like all
chips.
the companies were like, this is false, like retract the story. I think the U.S. intelligence agencies are also like, the story's false. But Bloomberg was like, we stand by this story.
Bloomberg is generally a reputable, generally has reputable reporting though, don't they?
Yeah, but the one iffy thing about Bloomberg is that they pay more for stories that have the potential to move markets.
Mm.
And like, if this story was true, that could definitely have moved the market.
I mean, like, the one thing about this story, though, is that I would not be surprised if, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if China put spy chips and stuff inside the processors and things like that. I definitely would never be surprised about that. Would you?
No, I wouldn't. But I think like what people are saying was that the chips that Bloomberg was describing like weren't new. Like the people knew what those types of chips were, and also that it wasn't very realistic for them to be using those chips in the first place because they couldn't do much with them.
I see. I definitely I definitely think that it'd be a very big blow though if like your phone, like my phone, all these computers and stuff had a bunch of chips in them though.
I mean, they do have chips.
No, I meant like spy chips in them.
Oh yeah. I mean, like honestly, like the NSA already has backdoors in this thing, so
That's true though. Uh, they probably forced Google and Amazon and Microsoft to be like, yeah, install a backdoor, or else we're gonna like just
yeah.
destroy you.
And don't worry, only we can access this backdoor. No way hackers could ever find it.
Given the U.S. cyber infrastructure, let's see, and the security, and I definitely think it's very easy to get it into the backdoor. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's true. But honestly, this whole story, like with everyone else denying it, it makes me think that Bloomberg like got it wrong on this story, and that
Um,
they're just not willing to retract it.
but the other thing about it too is that wouldn't everyone deny it though? Because wouldn't that just literally be one of the most like this devastating things that any company could say? Like, oh yeah, we have foreign governments spying on you. Like that would
Yeah,
be
but why would the
devastating.
U.S. government say that, right? The U.S. is
Okay,
stuck in a trade war with China. This is perfect ammunition to go after them with, and yet they're not doing it.
I mean, like that could be really bad though if they actually said that publicly, you know? Like if they actually expose that and the US government says that, I mean like you could like really bad things could happen between the US and China and which would not be good for anyone. So I mean like the
I
US
mean,
government
not
could be a lot
really.
of
The
good things.
U.S. has already been like convicting like Chinese intelligence officers in absentia in federal courts for spying.
That's true. I don't know. I feel like part of me wants to think that it is true because I honestly wouldn't be surprised at all, like if China was spying on us right now. Like,
I mean, like everyone's spying on everyone.
yeah, that's true. But I just wouldn't be surprised if it was for like computer chips, you know, like in their phones and computers and stuff. I definitely think that this is going to be very contentious. like thing that that may come up in the future.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely a thing.
But then what about the reputability of Bloomberg after that story, though? Like, what do you think about
I
Bloomberg?
mean, honestly, it's only one story on like a particular special case. I think overall Bloomberg is fine. Is that people may be a bit more hesitant to trust them on like really breaking news, like shocking stories in the future. They might be a bit more careful in their evaluation of it.
Yeah, I definitely think that's it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, one more thing, I was just thinking about a story. Did you hear about the let's see, the Proud Boys fight with Antifa in New York?
Oh yeah. I mean, like two groups of people who want to fight end up in a fight. It's like not really that surprising, I guess.
I mean, like, I don't know, just like let's see, like what is just your opinion on like the fight though? Like, do you think it was like a good, bad thing or what?
Uh, I would say it's a bad thing for people to get into a fight, but Antifa likes to get into fights. The Proud Boys like to provoke people to get into a fight because they want to get into a fight as well. So honestly, both sides seem rather like mm, if seem are on shaky ground here, I would say.
Yeah, did you see the video of the fight though?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it was pretty interesting because what was it? The Antifa people threw a bottle over at the Proud Boys, um, which was like pretty interesting. And then the Proud Boys just like beat them up and started kicking them while they were on the floor. I think the Proud Boy people are getting arrested too, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, if there's video evidence of you beating people up while they're like lying down on the ground, that sounds like something to arrest you. Like perfectly good reason to be arrested for.
Yeah, but the other problem is that Antifa provoked the fight. So would you? I
I
mean,
think
like,
the Proud Boys were looking to provoke a fight. That's kind of how they work.
but like, let's see. The thing is that even if they didn't
And
actually
like even
start the
if you
fight.
want to provoke a fight, that doesn't give like even if the other side's the one that provoked the fight, right? Okay, that doesn't give you a right to go over there and just beat the shit out of them.
That's true, but I think that like to a certain extent they could have like fought them for self-defense because because Antifa did start the fight from what I can tell. Um, let's
Okay, if
but
Antifa did start the fight, then yeah, you could like
that
push them
push them
off,
away,
right?
but you can't
But
like
like
beat them up
if
on the
they're on the
ground.
ground, is this self-defense anymore, or is it just beating someone up?
Yeah, I definitely think that the Proud Boys in the end did go too far though with that, and I definitely think that they do deserve to be like some of them do deserve to be arrested. And let's see, just like put in a court to see if they'll serve jail time. But I also think that the Antifa people are very wrong for like at least starting the fight too.
I mean, Antifa's tactics have always been provocation to fights, and like honestly, I disagree with it too. I don't see much benefit in that kind of behavior. But it's
I
like
just
honestly, everyone these like all the like hard left, hard right people on both sides are like interested in like provoking fights these days, I think.
yeah,
It's
it's
kind of
definitely
like a
true.
result of the polarization thing.
But I definitely think that like what was it? I definitely think that the right is very very bad. Like the very far right is very very bad with like the white supremacists and stuff. I don't agree
Yeah.
with that. But then again I can't agree with like the far left either with like if you've ever seen the like Antifa riots at Berkeley and stuff, right? Or the let's see, or the ones in Portland recently. You know, like I just don't agree with
Yeah.
what they're doing. They're like literally beating people up for no reason. Like if you just pass them and then they just yell, "You're a Trump supporter," they'll just go and beat you.
Yeah,
It's
I
terrifying.
that's pretty bad too, I think.
Yeah, but I think both of them are like equally bad to be honest.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Antifa's basically like going anarchism at this point,
I,
and
I think they're just
anarchism is,
employing fascist tactics to be honest. It's kind of ironic. They're the anti-fascists yet put in fascist tactics by let's see by beating up people who they don't like.
Antifa's just like running, I think, on a mob mentality, and mob mentalities like generally lead to like violence, I think.
Yeah, the other thing that I think I could connect that back to is that what was it called? I think Trump was talking about what's it called? About like the Democrats being like a mob, right?
I mean, it's not like Republicans are doing much better.
That's true though. I mean, like given that Trump rally too, right? They were basically
Yeah,
like a
all
mob.
the locker ups and all that stuff. That's definitely not a mob right there, people. No,
Yeah,
not nothing out of the ordinary.
yeah, no, but the let's see, but the Democrats also have like larger mobs that are starting to pop up now that I think about it, right? You go
Yeah.
to let's see, like you have someone like Ben Shapiro trying to speak at USC. You have massive mob protest, um, preventing him from like trying to prevent him from speaking, right? Um,
I mean, honestly, the protests to prevent someone from speaking are like technically not illegal. It's like if you go into like if you get violent, then that's illegal.
Yeah, though the problem with that is that like they have gotten violent in the past. Berkeley, for example, Milo
Yeah.
Yiannopoulos trying to speak there. It's been very mobby. Um, let's see. The other thing
Part of the
was
issue is like like Ben Shapiro, Yiannopoulos, like they go there to speak. They're trying to provoke a violent reaction. Like they're not like actually interested in like speaking there to like get people to like change their minds or something. They're there to provoke a reaction, I think.
um
Why else would you go to Berkeley to speak? You know people are going to protest. Like
I f-
like that has to be part of your reason for going there in the first place.
I feel like when people like that go over to college campuses, I think it's a way for me to like expose different viewpoints to other people. If you don't have the full picture of um of like what the other side is, then I don't think you can really make like good judgment in the political system. And I think that for those people, it's like sort of what's it called? um, Sort of like trying to, let's see, give a wider spectrum of ideas towards people in universities. And I think that when like people speakers like that go there, it's a good thing just because let's see, universities should have a freedom of ideas. So people are exposed to different ideas and can choose what's right and what's wrong.
I mean, yeah, that's true, but I mean, part of the issue is that like Milo, like you can see his like tweets and stuff beforehand. He was like basically like he was like, "Oh, I predict there's gonna be riots and all that." He was basically trying to like provoke a reaction.
Yeah, I mean, like from Indianapolis, I definitely would agree with that one, but I feel like Ben Shapiro is not as much. I feel like Ben Shapiro is just your normal average conservative, right? And I don't think
I
he would
would
be.
say his ideas are a bit more to the far right. I mean, like a bit more hardline conservative.
I wouldn't necessarily say that they're completely far right. I definitely think that some of them are like more right-ish, right? With like some of the stuff um like what his like abortion policy or whatever. Like I don't personally agree with that, right? So I definitely think it's a little bit more far right in that case. But yeah. I I don't think that they're like I don't think that like trying to go on college campuses and trying to speak about like a different opposing viewpoint is a bad thing. It's just that I just can't agree with like the protests that happen for it, right? I don't think that like you should protest like you should try to censor yourself from ideas that are worse
I
that
mean,
are
you
like
can protest the idea. It's perfectly fine. Everyone can protest an
yeah, but I
idea. It's
just
like
I don't
that's a
think you can just like
fundamental right.
yeah, I don't
It's
but
just that like you shouldn't like get violent while you're doing it.
yeah, I think that like you should at least like let the person speak too before protesting.
I mean, you can
That's
like
all.
protest while they're speaking. Just like don't like be like a don't just don't like just heckle incessantly.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think that we will wrap it up from here. We,
Yeah.
I hope that you've enjoyed this podcast so far. We will be back soon for episode three. Actually, wait, not episode three. It's episode greater than two and less than four, as Gabe Newell would say.
Yes, that's true. Don't utter the unspeakable word, Harrison.
Exactly. Okay, we'll be back next time for episode greater than two but less than four.
All right. See you next time, boys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.